you are interested, you can watch all of the 3 hours of World Youth Meeting from one of the rooms, or you can also watch the short segment that I and former Professor Tets Nakanishi gave on the second day. But what I'm going to do today is just very quickly review what Nakanishi-sensei and I talked about with reference to 4 of the presentations, 2 of which we heard from today. So, let's quickly go through. So, when we were looking at the 4 presentations, these are some of the things that we considered in our review. We looked at the performance side, voice, body language, and audience interaction, which I think are very important to keep in your mind when you are doing a presentation. Also, of course, we looked a little bit at the content, okay? But our main focus was here on the performative side. Were you getting your message across, okay? So, I'm going to be jumping in and out of the PowerPoint. So very quickly, we're going to look at just a little bit of this first presentation. So what I'll do is I'll quickly jump over here just to introduce, and let me check the sound. MacBook speakers, Janakude. Okay, let's see if this works. Just brief.
Hi, I'm here. I'm Saki, here from Hong University, and for all teacher learning collecting theory.
All right. No, that killed the sound completely. Display port.
Hi, I'm here. I'm Saki, here from Hong University, and for all teacher learning collecting theory. Nice to meet you, everyone. Our topic today is conflict, oversight, and unification, how international collaboration fits.
Okay, so in terms of our comments with regards to this particular presentation, Nakanishi-sensei he focused on the mother tongue interference, okay? So one problem that I think especially we have in our faculty is we have, and it's not so much a problem as it's actually a great benefit for all of us, is we have a mixture of students who speak English that is affected by their mother tongue. The language that you speak mainly from birth is going to affect your pronunciation. That's normal, that's natural, okay? But it's important to keep in mind that when you are in front of an audience, it's really important to think about how well are they going to comprehend or understand what you are saying, okay? So having or focusing on a standard of English, okay? The importance of practicing and speaking very clearly, okay? And copying a good English speaker, okay? When I'm up here, I'm very careful about my own pronunciation and the speed that I speak at, because I know that students in the audience have different levels of understanding. You need to do the same when you're up here, okay? So, having a slightly different pronunciation is fine, but take into consideration, think about your audience, and try to speak as clearly as you can for them, okay? Next up. We just heard from this group.
Okay, everyone, please welcome them with.
Shush. Okay, we just heard from them. So I will quickly jump to the comments. So, what I think impressed me especially was with this performance was the high energy of the performance. If you can remember back to the World Youth Meeting, this group especially used a lot of energy and enthusiasm. When they were speaking, we could feel that they were interested in and cared about their presentation topic. Maybe some of the energy was because they were nervous. That's okay. Use the energy, okay? But one little problem was sometimes their speaking speed was picking up. The faster you speak, the more difficult it is to follow you, okay? Other really positive points, relatable examples. They talked about things all of us use in our daily lives, bananas and clothes, right? They also used a question and answer format, which is really good to get the audience thinking and involved in your presentation. And they finished with some practical solutions, things that we actually really could do, okay? And again, that's very important. Well, some students, they talked about very large issues, and their proposals were too large for us to actually be able to do. So practical solutions are very important. Next up, we listen to this presentation, okay? Excuse me. Can we hear a little bit of theirs? They're talking about chocolate.
Hello, everybody. Who likes chocolate?
Yeah, everybody loves chocolate. Well, not everyone.
Do you know chocolate production as cook?
Okay, so again, if you have time, go back, watch the YouTube videos, and get a real sense of their presentation. I think Nakanishi Sensei and I both agreed that this was a really good, professional-looking presentation, okay? And probably what helped them the most was they had a very good structure. Their ideas that we could see developed on the PowerPoint slides were very well and carefully thought out and organized. So it was easy for everyone to follow their ideas. They also had very good persuasive data. Okay? They had data that made us think, oh yeah, that is a good point. I can agree with that. All right? And all of that came through on their PowerPoint slides, which, as we have said again and again, should be simple, should have powerful but good images and key words to help us to follow and understand. And our suggestion was, again, be careful with your speaking. Okay, this group, if you watch their PowerPoint or if you watch their video, they were very polished. They had obviously practiced many times. They knew who was speaking. They knew when to pass the microphone. So it looked and felt like a professional presentation. So in that way, we thought that this was a really good presentation. All right. And the last one, and just one quick point to avoid is cognitive overload. Okay, cognitive overload. This is a slide that I borrowed. Check out the references over there. What is cognitive overload? In this case, they're talking about user experiences in terms of computer. But thinking about presentations, cognitive overload, if you give too much information, the brains of the people watching your presentation are going to go, boop, okay? They're going to pop. They're going to explode, all right? Not too much information. Keep it simple. Only use the most important information. And of course, use visual cues. An image will help people to understand. Okay? Images, as Kagito-sensei mentioned before, one good picture is worth 1,000 words. Okay? Hi, next. So, KISS. Keep it simple and smart. Okay? Hi. So, the last one was this presentation. Okay. And again, I don't know if we'll be able to watch any of this, but we'll try. Again, all of these presentations might be available online. So they started with a good quote, okay? Where did everything go? There we are. So in this particular presentation, my feeling was it was probably almost perfect in terms of presentation, okay? They spoke very clearly. They were very careful with their pronunciation. The speed was just right. Not too fast, not too slow. They had obviously memorized. They didn't need to check their notes all the time. It's not a bad thing to have to check your notes. I brought my own just in case. But remember, when you speak, eye contact, eyes forward. Look at the audience when you're speaking. That's how you understand whether they are following you. Next up, so again, if it's memorized, you can make eye contact. Body language, also important. Open body language, okay? Show people your enthusiasm. Don't be afraid to use gestures, facial expressions. Movement, if you can, move around a little, okay? You look less stiff, less nervous, more positive. PowerPoint, of course, we've discussed. Also, in terms of this presentation, they had very simple, concrete actions. They made a book to help foreigners visiting Japan or living in Japan, and they made a game to raise awareness, okay? Tetsu's comment was a very important point. Something I try to do in my classes is, if you can, watch your own performance. Watch your group's presentation. If you can get a video and watch it, that is probably the best way you can learn to do a better presentation. I know you feel maybe awkward or embarrassed when you watch yourself, but if you watch it with open eyes, you can see areas where you can improve. Lastly, so the perfect presentation maybe isn't possible. I don't know. I've never seen a perfect presentation. And when I come up here, I don't expect to give a perfect presentation. And you shouldn't either. But you should try to do your best. And always aim to try to be better than your last presentation. So, my suggestions are simple. KISS, keep it simple and smart. Less is best. Cognitive overload, not too much information. Important points. Make sure that your presentation, the words, the images, the slides, are easy to follow and clear, okay? Clear also includes pronunciation, practicing. Think about your listeners, okay? So don't always be thinking about yourself. Also, think about who is in the audience. Can they understand you? Focus on articulation. So you don't have to have perfect pronunciation, but you should be able to pronounce clear enough that everyone can understand and follow. Because remember, a presentation is communication. You are having a conversation with the audience. It's not just you talking. It's you communicating with the listeners. Next, if possible, be energetic. Show your energy and excitement. And be friendly. Eye contact, smiling, open gestures builds a good relationship with the audience. And very important, relatable suggestions. The things that you were saying that we should do at the end should be something that we actually can do. Okay? Little things that we can do. And, of course, review. Learn from your mistakes. Is there a perfect presentation? No, probably not. But always aim to be better. Okay? Good, better, best. Okay? So, thank you for listening. Don't forget to vote for the new faculty logo. Today is the deadline. Don't forget to vote. Choose the faculty logo for